So when you were weighing your options, what was just the ultimate deciding factor for you for Arizona?
The pedigree, honestly, the fact that this is a winning program. You can't pass that up. That's hard.
And what do you think you bring to this team?
I think I bring experience, a good cutter. I can shoot. Shot pretty well last year, and I expect to honestly shoot better this year. So I think that will be a big step for me.
Was any part of your decision in terms of Arizona's development of players like you saw Dalen Terry, Christian Coloco, and they made it to the NBA? Does that have some part to do with it as well?
Yeah, it does. I thought Dalen, the way he played, was similar to my style. I really liked his game, and I saw how well they developed him, and especially as a shooter. I mean, he took a great step forward this year, and I mean, look at him. He made it to where everybody wants to be.
Did you get to watch Arizona much on TV last year?
I got to watch some games. I was all the way on the East Coast, so I caught like the first half, but I did watch a lot of games as much as I could, and then I mainly watched them over the summer when I really was looking at this school, so I watched them and caught up and really saw everything.
What's the biggest difference between the style that Arizona plays and what you've been playing at Campbell?
The pace. I mean, one of the fastest paces in the country, a very good scoring offense. And then where I was at Campbell was a slow pace. We were very slow. It was a good concept, though. It taught me a lot, especially about cutting and learning basketball as a whole.
Specific to the skill work and Tommy's side of that, was that something you heard, things he's doing with guys? Is that something you've seen that he was doing with guys?
It's something I heard, especially talking to Kerr before I even got here. Me and him really sat and kind of had a conversation on my visit. He was sitting there telling us, Tommy's a player's guy. I mean, there's not too many coaches, especially, at least that I know of, that just go in when you're doing your individual workout just to see how it's going and put his input in and tell you what you need to do. And then he's big on, even in practice, hey, you've worked on this in your individuals, why not try it in practice and see how it looks, see how you feel with it, and really kind of feel the game, especially when you're learning.
So how do you think Tommy's system benefits your game?
I think it'll honestly allow me to play at a better pace, and then put me in more pick and rolls. I did some last year, and I played pretty well in them, but I think this will be a big time because I never really got to play with a legit big. So I think that'll be really fun, and then playing with a point guard that knows how to pass up the court.
When's the last time you played in an up-tempo offense, if you could think of the time?
I'd say AAU. It's been a minute. Actually, my JUCO year. We played pretty fast. I wouldn't say it was as fast as this, but we tried to play at a good pace. So.
We talked to Courtney Ramey a couple weeks ago. He'd also mentioned talking with Kerr, like in the lead up to coming out here and all that. Mm-hmm. Is Kerr like a recruiter for this team? Do you get that sense that he's out there looking for talent?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but when Kerr has a feeling like he likes a guy, and he's Kerr. He's a character. He's funny. He's good to be around. He's good people. And just talking to him really kind of helps you understand where Tommy's coming from and where they're coming from as a team.
What do you remember about the game last year at Duke?
Let's see. Finally playing on a big stage. That was probably the biggest thing for me, was playing on national television and actually showing that I could play there.
And then how do you think something like that maybe can prepare you for home games at McHale?
I think McHale will probably be louder. Duke is a great environment, but a lot of the time, or at least when I played there, because we're not a rival, so the fans, it's loud, but there's not as many. I think McHale is going to be a lot more rowdy.
How would you describe the influence that your father's had on your career?
That's an interesting one. I'd say he had a big one. The biggest thing was he didn't really push me to play basketball. He let me kind of experience all sports and kind of just let me take my time. But when I told him I really wanted to be serious about basketball, he was all for it and taught me the ropes and taught me really how to play. So.
What were some of the other sports?
Soccer, baseball, football, track. I really played them all. I think my favorite was soccer, though. It just was a relaxing game to me. So.
What do you remember about the early part of your childhood? Because I believe he was playing overseas a lot and still playing professionally. So what was that like for you?
It was interesting because we got to do little FaceTimes when he wasn't there. But then when I went overseas with him, I got to experience what it was like to be overseas. I thought that was amazing. The locker rooms and everything like that, it's like a family. Everybody over there is really close, and it's really nice. So.
What was the most memorable part about going overseas?
The view.
What country?
I was in Ukraine and Cyprus when I was over there. The ocean, the beach views were just amazing.
In terms of soccer, are you a soccer fan?
I am a little bit. I don't keep up with it as much as I want to, but I do play FIFA, but I'm not very good at it. So.
Do you see a lot of similarities in terms of how overseas teams are run compared to Arizona in terms of that family atmosphere that you're talking about?
Yeah, honestly, the guys are close. We all talk and laugh and joke around. I got here and it was easy to get along with everybody. There's no bad personalities. Everybody's there for one thing, to win basketball, to have fun and enjoy their time here.
And what kind of influence has Penny Hardaway had on you?
A good one. I thought, honestly, when I was playing, I played for the AAU team before he did everything else. He was a guy that thought I should have been more aggressive coming up. And in hindsight, I should have. But he taught me, hey, play your way and kind of accept it. So.
And then what kind of role are you expecting him to have this year?
Honestly, whatever role he gives me. I think the biggest thing for me right now is to just show that I can play on the stage consistently. I honestly expect to kind of do similar to what I did last year at Campbell. I think going from 12 to 15 points with 6-7 rebounds a game is honestly my goal, and that's what I want to do. So.
What is the biggest on-court piece of advice your father has given you about the game?
Don't get in your head. What that means is, even if you can't shoot it well, go play defense. Or if you aren't having the best defensive game, go rebound. There's always something you can do on the court. Don't let one thing determine what else happens for the rest of the game.
How would you describe yourself in terms of position as a player? Guard, forward? Because you seem kind of like you can do a little bit of both.
I'm versatile. That's something I've always been proud to say. I'm a guy that goes from playing guard to playing forward, depending on what's needed in that situation. So.
And what are your plans academically for the sophomore year?
Academically, I'm going to try to get a certificate, and then I think I'm trying to decide if I want to try to do an internship or not. So.
And what do you hope to do with your degree?
Honestly, I love ITS, and I have a couple people back home that I have stayed in touch with for that. So I keep coding, and my sister actually is a graphic designer as well. So we kind of go back and forth with that and kind of stay in touch with it.
How is coding from your perspective?
It's something you just kind of have to have. Coding is a different language. It's like learning Spanish for the first time. Once you get into it, you're into it. But if you don't like that kind of thing, then you should not get into it at all.
So is it easy to pick up different schemes and stuff with basketball, considering how different coding is?
No, I think basketball for me was always something I always picked up on easily. I think coding is just, I love math. So it just kind of was just there for me. So.
I've said the 2 Memphis barbecue questions. My favorite, Blue City Cafe. What's your favorite?
Oh, that's a tough one. I wouldn't say it's barbecue, but it is soul food, and they have barbecue there. I'd say Sting's. It's like a little hole in the wall. Memphis barbecue is everywhere. Memphis food is great, in my opinion. I think it's some of the best food in America. So.
And yes or no, barbecue spaghetti?
Ooh, yes. Yeah.
Have you tried anything out here? Have you sampled the Mexican food? Or
I have.
found something particular that stands out for you?
I'd say what sticks out the most for me right now, when I first got here, I loved momos. I thought that was really good. But right now, I think I'd say sauce is really good, and then Illegal Pete's. I think those 2 right now are probably my 2 favorites.
You need to branch out, get more into the rest of the city.
I'm going to try as the year goes along. It's just, I got to get out there. So.
Do you have a car?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So
What's it been like weather-wise transitioning from Memphis to Tucson?
dry, so dry. The humidity in Memphis and like it's just always warm, but like here is just dry heat and it kills me. I felt a little sick the other day because I was so dry. Like my mouth was just dead. So
Who was your favorite player growing up?
Kobe. So I mean, best player in the league to me ever to play. That's just me.
Is there a certain player that you maybe emulated or copied their style?
I think my two favorite players are Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, which I love them being on the same team because they're two-way players. I think Chris Middleton is also a great player. He's also another guy that I like to watch. They're efficient players that play both sides of the ball. They're going to score on you and then turn around and say, hey, you're not going to score. So I love that. I mean, if you can do both, then, I mean, who's going to say no to you making it?
How would you describe yourself as a defender?
I think I'm good. I wouldn't say I'm great. I wouldn't say I'm bad.
More gritty or like?
I think my biggest thing for me was like, I always sat on the fact that I don't want this dude to score over 10 points on me. I mean, if you sit there and do that, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to win. So.
Anything else? Good. Appreciate the time, Cedric.
Thanks, Cedric.
Thank you for having me.